The movie starts with a sad funeral for an old-school principal named Jung Seop. Young Hwa, a young and beautiful woman, is in charge of organizing the funeral. Suddenly, a suspicious reporter named Oh shows up to pay his respects and asks Yeon Hwa about the principal's cause of death. He finds the whole incident strange because Jung Seop had cancer, but he died from something else. And to add to the mystery, the old man has left all of his fortune to Yeon Hwa, even though he didn't have any specific relationship with her. Sounds like she may have been scratching his back. In the following scene, reporter Oh talks to Yeon Hwa for some time, but despite his efforts to investigate further, he is unable to find any concrete clues and leaves. Later, the reporter seeks out Yeon Hwa again, who is placing some flowers over the grave, and discovers that she is living alone in a grand mansion. After sharing his reason for investigation, Yeon Hwa agrees to comply with him for an interview. She then starts sharing the story of how she met the old principal in the first place. Following this, the movie flashes back to the past, when Yeon Hwa used to work as a caretaker. After hearing about her service, the lonely old man Jung Seop hires her and urges her to take care of him. During their first meeting, Jung Seop reveals that he is in the late stages of cancer and doesn't have much time left to live. He also mentions that he wants to spend his remaining days in peace and asks Yeon Hwa to take care of all his needs until then. Surprisingly, without any reluctance, Yeon Hwa agrees to his request. However, during the initial days, Jung Seop becomes increasingly demanding and difficult to please. He gets angry easily if the food doesn't meet his expectations, and even asks Yeon Hwa to give him long massages. I'd have been more surprised if he didn't go down that road. One night, after having a nightmare, Jung Seop wakes up and finds Yeon Hwa sleeping beside him instead of watching over him. Seeing this, he becomes furious and throws a glass of water at her, waking her up. However, Yeon Hwa remains calm and he eventually goes back to sleep. As the days pass, Yeon Hwa learns Jung Seop's preferences and becomes more understanding of his needs. She begins preparing his favorite meals, taking care of his medications, plays This Little Piggy Went to the Market with him, and even knowing the correct temperature of water for his bath. With all of this, their relationship improves and they grow closer. One night, Jung Seop takes Yeon Hwa to a reunion party and introduces her to his friends. He even convinces her to sing a song on the stage, which captivates everyone in the audience. Jung Seop is really impressed by her singing ability, as he had no idea about it. On their way home, he mentions that the song used to be his late wife's favorite. When asked about how she knew about the song, Yeon Hwa confesses that her late boyfriend used to listen to it quite often. The following morning, Yeon Hwa is giving Jung Seop a pedicure in the garden. I was kidding about This Little Piggy, but here we go. As the two grow close, the old man opens up about his deceased son, mentioning that he was around Yeon Hwa's age when he passed away in an unfortunate accident. He then inquires why she is caring for him instead of enjoying her youth elsewhere. In reply, Yeon Hwa offers a vague response, stating that she is simply following her predetermined path of fate, which is to become really rich ASAP. The next day, Jung Seop experiences a painful episode due to his illness, causing him to scream in agony. He falls from the bed and crawls on the floor to get some water to drink. Sadly, even after drinking, he gets no relief. Hearing his screams, Yeon Hwa rushes to his aid, but he dismisses her help and asks her to iron his suit instead. Once the pain subsides, Jung Seop comes out of the room and Yeon Hwa hands him the suit. He then instructs her to go outside on her own and collect a photo from a studio. In the next scene, as requested, Yeon Hwa steps out of the house and heads towards the photo studio. Little does she know that Jung Seop has a chilling plan to commit the unthinkable, which is why he sent her away. While Yeon Hwa receives the photo at the studio and thinks about Jung Seop, a sudden realization strikes her. She understands his intentions and rushes back home, desperately hoping to prevent the tragic outcome. Luckily, she arrives in the nick of time and saves her employer. With tears streaming down her face, she then falls to her knees and pleads with Jung Seop to never do that again. In that very moment, the old man realizes that he now finally has someone to live for. As the days pass, their bond deepens, and Jung Seop begins to rediscover happiness. One day, as he is organizing photographs of his late wife and son, he opens up to Yeon Hwa, confessing that everyone he has ever loved has left him. Now he is fearful of being abandoned once again. However, Yeon Hwa tenderly assures him that she has nowhere else to go, and promises to remain by his side forever. To shift the conversation and bring some solace, Yeon Hwa gently inquires about Jung Seop's son captured in the photograph. In reply, he reminisces about his son, describing him as a dedicated and talented individual who was tragically taken away by a car accident, leaving the world too soon. The next day, Yanhua accompanies Jiang Xiop for a medical checkup, and to their astonishment, the doctor delivers unexpected news. Jiang Xiop's cancer cells have miraculously stopped spreading. Instead of having only 6 months to live, he now has an extended prognosis of 6 years. The doctor concludes that patients who maintain a positive outlook on life tend to experience longer lifespans. On their way back from the appointment, Jiang Xiop can be seen smiling, expressing his gratitude to Yanhua by holding her hand. He believes that she is the reason for his happiness and positive attitude towards life. In the following days, Jiang Xiop's affection for Yanhua grows stronger, and he treats her to fancy dinners at nice restaurants. During one of these dinners, Yanhua kindly advises him to not drink too much because of his illness. However, the old man, who is caught up in the moment, completely ignores her and ends up getting faced. As he gets drunk, he tries to be intimate with Yanhua. He grabs her in his arms and tries to kiss her forcefully. However, after a bit of a scuffle, she manages to push him away and stop him from doing anything bad. Feeling disappointed, Yanhua decides to leave the house, leaving Jiang Xiop alone. The movie then switches back to the present, with reporter O leaving Yanhua's house. The following day, he carries out some investigation and discovers that before becoming a caretaker, she used to work as an escort. Desperate to uncover the truth, reporter O goes back to the mansion and interrogates Yanhua again. This time he looks around the house and stumbles upon a photo of a man who seems familiar to him. He asks Yanhua about the guy, but she brushes off the question and invites him to stay for dinner. Later, during the meal, the reporter straightforwardly asks Yanhua if she has anything to do with the old man's death. In response, Yanhua doesn't give a clear answer and instead pours reporter O some wine. She then shares more about her past with the old man. The movie once again flashes back in time to the day when Yanhua rejected the old man's advances. Unfortunately, this sends him into a state of depression, because of which he starts treating her poorly again. To make matters worse, Jiang Xiop's health begins to decline. Despite his mean behavior, Yanhua continues to care for him, but this time she does so by wearing revealing clothes and occasionally trying to seduce him. She massages him frequently and also puts his head on her lap. She also plays this little piggy with even more fervor. Back to the present, Yanhua suddenly interrupts her story and decides to share another important incident from her past with the reporter. She tells him about the night she met her ex-boyfriend for the first time at the nightclub where she used to work. While serving a group of men, she finds him quiet and shy, unlike other loud and energetic men there. Yanhua finds his demeanor appealing and starts to take an interest in him. Later that night, she gets a sudden headache and sits alone outside the club. Coincidentally, the same guy from before notices her discomfort. He comes close to her and offers her some medicine to help her feel better. With his behavior, Yanhua finds him very humble and sweet. She cannot help but laugh and call him adorable. Later, the guy proposes to her to have dinner, and they end up going out for a meal together. From here, their relationship starts and grows with every other meeting. Back in the present, reporter O finds himself spending the night at Yanhua's house after drinking too much wine. When he wakes up, he hears Yanhua crying in the shower. Curious and concerned, he approaches her, and she opens up about some dark experiences from her past. She insists that she is innocent and did not murder the old man. The reporter feels bad for her and tries consoling her, but one thing leads to another, and they end up getting intimate. Surprisingly, the following morning, reporter O wakes up to find Yanhua gone. While searching for her around the house, he comes across an old news article that reveals the truth about Yanhua's boyfriend. He goes through it and discovers that her boyfriend was actually the son of the old man, Jiang Xiop. The article also reveals that her boyfriend didn't die in a car accident, but committed the unthinkable, frustrated by a traumatic event. Confused by what he just read, the reporter decides to delve deeper into the investigation. He uncovers the shocking fact that Yanhua had been making potions, I tell you, to induce feelings of love, and she had spiked both his and the old man's drinks. The scene shifts back to the past, and we see Jiang Xiop carefully trimming his beard, seemingly preparing for something special. With a ring in hand, he enters Yan's room and gently places it on her finger while she is asleep. However, Yanhua suddenly wakes up and rejects his heartfelt proposal. Desperate to win her over, Jiang Xiop goes to great lengths. He offers her his house and all of his fortune, hoping that she will agree to marry him. However, she refuses all of his advances and leaves him alone. After several days, Yanhua returns home with vengeance in her eyes. It is at this moment that she unveils a shocking truth. She is actually the girlfriend of his deceased son. Yanhua discloses her true intentions, mentioning that she has come for revenge for her boyfriend's death. It turns out that Yanhua's boyfriend's tragic demise was a result of his own father's deep-seated hatred. Upon discovering his son's relationship with an escort, Jiang Xiop orchestrated a cruel plan He hired some of Yanhua's previous clients and forced them to engage in intimate acts with her while making his son watch everything. I could have sworn this was a love story. This inflicted painful scars on them both. In particular, the boyfriend was so deeply affected that he jumped in front of a moving car and ended it all. Upon learning the devastating truth, Jung Seop collapses to the ground in utter shock. Meanwhile, Yanhua retreats to her room, seemingly happy at what she has done. The next day, Jung Seop requests a shower from Yanhua. Afterwards, while she is in another room, he commits the unthinkable, leaving her alone with his wealth and fortune. Following this, Yanhua is at a train station, contemplating on ending it herself. However, when she tries to jump into the oncoming train, completing the cycle of unbelievably depressing shit, she is unexpectedly saved by the spirits of Jung Seop and her deceased boyfriend. They appear as ethereal beings, offering her solace and guidance. Jung Seop's spirit assures Yanhua that he harbors no grudges against her and encourages her to live the remainder of her life to the fullest, using the property he had left for her. The movie ends with the beautiful scene of Jung Seop and her boyfriend's spirits bidding farewell to Yanhua as they board a train. They wave at her, signifying their support as she embarks on a new chapter, carrying their memories with her, but not all that dark shit from the last 10 minutes. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.